Today we are going to be talking about the book Michael Newton, Destiny of Souls, New Case Studies of Life Between Lives. This trilogy of books are phenomenal. This is the second in the series. But there's certain aspects that bother me, and specifically it's chapter 6, Council of Elders, because anything with a hierarchy, it just hits different for me. Anyway, we're going to be reading from that chapter, and I'm going to be discussing why I believe this is basically a grift. I know that's hard to hear, but there's a lot of good things about this book. But it's in the subtleties that and the nuances that you kind of get to read between the lines of the whole control system and how it operates and how you can navigate that once you do leave here. So anyway, we're going to be reading from the Council of Elders, and it starts off as human fear of judgment and punishment. Not long after souls return to their spirit groups, they are called before a gathering of wise beings. A step or two above our guides, these ascended masters are the most advanced identifiable entities my still incarnating clients see in the spirit world. They give them different names, such as the Old Ones, the Sacred Masters, the Venerables, and pragmatic titles like the Examiners or the Committee. Ugh. The two most common names I hear to describe these highly evolved masters are Council and Elders, so I use these designations to describe this body. Because the Council of Elders does represent authority in the spirit world, let's underline that real quick. There are people at my lectures who immediately become suspicious. I wonder why. When I talk about robed beings, again with the robes, who wish to question souls about their past life performance. One man in Toronto couldn't contain himself and loudly proclaimed to everyone in the audience, I knew it. See, thinking outside the box, good for this guy. A courtroom, judges, punishment. Where does this fear and cynicism about the afterlife come from in the minds of so many people? Can you blame him? Religious institutions, civil courts, and military tribunals give us codes of morality and justice which impact the conduct of millions. There is crime and punishment and cultural traditions of harsh judgments for human transgressions that have been with us since our tribal days. The positive effects of a code of behavior and ethics connected to all religions down through history have been enormous. It has been argued that fear of divine retribution is what keeps the masses at bay with better conduct than they would otherwise have. Nevertheless, I feel there is a downside to any religious doctrine that creates personal anguish over facing a harsh final authority and maleficent spirits after death. Yeah, there is absolutely a downside to dogmatic religions. Anyway, organized religions have only been with us within the last 5,000 years, Anthropologists tell us that in the millennia before, primal people were naturalists or naturists who believed all animate and inanimate things have good and bad spirits. In this respect, the old tribal practices were not so different from the adultery of historical religions. Many gods of old were wrathful and unforgiving, while others were benevolent and helpful. Human beings have always been uneasy about forces beyond their control, particularly with divinities who might rule their lives after death. Since fears about survival have always been a part of our lives, it follows that human beings would find death to be the ultimate danger. Throughout our long history, the brutality of life meant that judgment, punishment, and suffering would likely continue in some way after death. Many cultures around the world have fostered these beliefs for their own purposes. People were led to believe that all souls, good and bad, would pass through a dark underworld of danger and trial right after death. In the West, purgatory has long been pictured as a lonely way station for souls trapped between heaven and hell. In recent decades, the non-evangelical churches have a more liberal definition of purgatory as a state of isolation for the purification of sins and imperfections before the soul can enter heaven. With Eastern philosophy, especially among the canons of Hinduism and the Mahayana Buddhist sects, there has been a long tradition of spiritual prisons of lower defiled planes of existence, which is also being liberalized. This concept is another reason why I am against the use of concentric circle imagery of multiple astral planes as a map for describing soul travel after death. Historically, they were designed to show multi-progagal cells in the underworld of judges, courts, and demons. Seekers of truth who turn to the ancient metaphysical traditions of the East find a confusing mix of superstitions, just as with Western theology. While reincarnation has long been embraced by the East, there has been the retention of the doctrine of transmigration. In my travels through India, I found transmigration to be an intimidating concept which has been used to control behavior. Under this credo, a wide variety of sins are met with the very real possibility of the soul being transmigrated back to the lower subhuman form of life in its next cycle of existence. In my research, I have found no evidence to support transmigration of souls. My subjects indicate the soul energy of different forms of life on earth do not appear to intermingle their energy in the spirit world. For me, the intimidation and fear transmigration engenders is a coercion of karmic justice. I have found the souls of humans on other worlds in prior incarnations to be in host bodies slightly more or less intelligent than our own species. I have never had a client assigned to another world where they were not the most dominant intelligence on that particular planet. This is by design. Rather than stages of punishment, we go through stages of self-enlightenment. Yet large segments of human society are unable to shake off the nagging feeling, built over thousands of years of cultural conditioning, that judgment and punishment must exist in some form in the afterlife as it does on earth. Maybe it won't be a hell with torture by the forces of darkness, but it's something unpleasant. It is my hope that what I have to say in this chapter will bring comfort to people inclined to be fearful about the possibility of punishment after death. On the other hand, there will be those who feel accountability to a council of elders. To a council of elders may not be all that comfortable either. The grammar's a little off there. I can't say that. The imperturations right there of this world, those devoted solely to uninhibited pleasure in life while paying little attention to the plight of others, might also not be happy with this chapter. Neither will the ironclads, who are opposed to authority of any kind, moral or otherwise. The spirit world is a place of order, and the council of elders exemplifies justice. Okay. Remember that sentence. Remember the part where I said, Council of Elders exemplifies justice. Just remember that part. That part. They are not the ultimate source of divine authority, but they appear to represent the last station of beings responsible for souls still incarnating on earth. These wise, quote-unquote, beings have great compassion for human weakness. Oh, okay. And they demonstrate infinite patience with our faults. We will be given many second chances in future lives. How many? That's the big question, ain't it? They won't be lives of easy karmic choices, of course not. Otherwise, we would learn nothing by coming to Earth, of course. However, the risks of life and sanity on this planet are not designed to cause us any further pain after death. Okay. I don't know if I should just stop right there because it's going to go past 15 minutes. I'm still building this channel, so I'm kind of limited in the scope of what I could do. But yeah, right there, where it says in the last sentence. However, the risks of life and sanity on this planet are not designed to cause us any further pain after death. Okay. Now you see where the manipulation is. At least this is how I see it, the manipulation with, okay. You research these outer body experiences, these NDEs. I had my own NDE back in 2002, so I can validate that it's absolutely real. Reincarnation's real, all of it. Now, I didn't want to come back. I didn't see the tunnel. I thought I was weird because I used to, researched different experiences, and most of them didn't line up with my own. And then and you go by, like, I don't put full credence in the Gnostic texts, but the Gnostics believed that Earth is a prison planet. Now, I don't exactly would call it a prison planet. I just, it's not a soul trap per se. What there is heavy, heavy manipulation to get you back here. And that last sentence just illustrates it perfectly with the nuance, what's behind it. Because, think about it. If you're leaving your body, you're automatically feeling like you never felt this good, And so the longer you're away from your physical body, and especially after death, you start to forget what it was like being in a physical body. And that's like, the further you're out, the longer you're out, that's where the manipulation comes in. Okay, it's time for you to start planning your next life, type thing. And it's these councils of elders that stand over all this. And this is why my channel's called Forever Sovereign, because we stand firm in our convictions and sovereignty. Then, you know what? We can't be manipulated back here if we don't want to come, because there is universal laws that even they have to follow. And this is the caveat. It can't be forced. I mean, the only way, I think there's like exceptions with like really evil people that do a lot of effed up shit. And yeah, they will get pushed into something. But other than that, like, if you're a wholesome, good person, for the most part, like, you can navigate it well, and you could basically not get manipulated back here if you don't want to come back here. I mean, this is a hard-hitting place. Earth is a hard-hitting planet. It really is. So, give yourself a pat on the back for even being here, because you have to be a badass to even come here in the first place. Legit. So I feel this was a very important piece of the chapter to bring up. I mean, I'm going to go further into this chapter on further videos. I just didn't want to go past the 15 marks. I just wanted you to get the gist of what the council is, per se. And honestly, like, I don't even think this book talks about it. I don't think hardly anybody talks about it. These councils that call themselves this or that, ascended masters, these are all labels. What they actually are, they're human essence. They're human essence that have been created. They basically were created before the souls. If you look into, the Jay Essex material, which is solid, by the way. I've met Jay Essex. He's a real deal. Anyway, I'm digressing. I just wanted to get the basics out on this. Let me know your thoughts. Phenomenal book. Phenomenal series of books. I mean, Michael Newton is a legend, just like David Icke's a legend, just like Jay Essex is a legend. I mean, this is a heavy book, I'm not gonna lie, but I've read it several times, but like, with that specific chapter with the elders and whatnot, yeah, it just cuts different, it hits different. So like, I had to bring that up because I want to get your thoughts on it. Let's have a discussion. I mean, this is a brand new YouTube channel. I'm trying something different. Hope you enjoyed this, and have a great, wonderful day.